Hi everybody, welcome back. This is a video on how to multiply a number times 50. Now multiplying times 50 is very simple and it is very easy to do in your head. As you can see here, I have two examples. I have the first way to do it and the second way to do it. The first way to multiply a number times 50 using a very quick, efficient way in your head is to actually do the math. So ignoring my 0 at first. So taking my number 17 and multiplying it times 5. Now I know I need to start in my ones place. So I multiply 7 times 5, which is 35. And I only write down my ones place, keeping that regroup of 3 in my head. Now as I move to my tens place, I'll multiply 1 times 5, which is 5. Now I'm going to add on that 3 that I regrouped in my head, and that gives me 8. And I very simply put that 0 back on. Now, if you look over here at my second method, you can see that I've drawn a picture. My picture here only includes 16, not 17. And I'm going to draw the 17th over here to the side, and you'll find out why in a minute. Now, the first thing I want to do is before I start, I want to think of 50s as money. Think about your 50s as 50 cents. If you've ever had a $50 in your hand or you've seen a $50, that's a 50-cent piece. So if I look at my array here of 16, I know that two 50s make $1. So I can start to circle groups of 2, knowing that those are two 50-cent pieces, and every time I circle a group, I have $1. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That would be $8. Now, we didn't have 16 to start. We started with 17, and I drew that 17th over here off to the side. This is my remainder. I have a remainder of 1. Now, that remainder of 1, remember this is money, is a 50-cent piece. So altogether, I have 8 total dollars plus a 50-cent piece left. Another way to do this, instead of drawing a picture every time, is to take your factor and simply divide it by 2, because just like here, we are making groups of 2. So if I make groups of 2, I know the closest I can get is 8. That gets me to 16 with that remainder of 1. So altogether, $8. And my remainder of 1 here, remember, is going to be a 50-cent piece. Now, this is not my answer because our original number was not money. I have to convert this back to cents by simply thinking of $8.50 as 850 cents. And there's my answer. Let's do a few examples. So here's a 50. I'm going to think about this as 50 cents. To do that, I take my other factor, which in this case is 45, and I'm going to divide it by 2 because it takes two 50s to make 100 cents. So when I take 45 divided by 2, I know the closest I could get is 22 because that gets me to 44 with a remainder of 1. So as I write this down, I think about this as $22, and this one remainder, remember, it's a 50-cent piece. Now, I'm not going to write it like this because my number is not about money, not this problem. I simply think of this as 2,250 pennies. Let's do another one. So here I have 50. Think about it as 50 cents. Take your other factor, 24, divide it by 2, which I know gets me 12. Half of 24 is 12. Now, you have to be careful with this. We don't have a remainder. You have to think about this 12 as $12 or 1,200 cents. And that is your answer. Last one. Here's 29 times 50. Think about these as 50 cents. I'm going to take my number, 29. I'm going to divide it by 2, cut it in half, because I'm making 2 50 cents makes $1. So I know that I can go into 2 evenly one time. And as I look at this 9, I know the closest I can get is 4 groups because that gets me to 8 with a remainder of 1. So here I have $14 and my remainder of 1 is a 50-cent piece. So $14.50, but my actual answer is $1,450. All right. I hope this was helpful, and I hope that makes multiplying a number times 50 easy for you too. Good luck.